The first morning in my new home was supposed to be peaceful until a furious knock shook the door like someone wanted to break it down. A woman with sunglasses and a clipboard screamed that I had no right to live on my own property. I didn't know it yet, but everything was about to explode. My first morning in the new house felt unreal. The sunlight poured through the windows, warming the wood floors as I walked between half-unpacked boxes. Everything smelled like fresh paint and possibility. I had chosen this house for one reason: peace. This entire stretch of land sat comfortably outside the HOA, away from their endless rules, surprise inspections, and pointless restrictions. I wanted freedom, privacy, and silence. And for a few minutes, I had it. The neighborhood felt calm, almost too calm, with houses spaced far apart and no cars passing by. I brewed my first cup of coffee, took a slow breath, and tried soaking in the feeling of a new beginning. But somewhere deep down, I sensed that quiet rarely lasts long. There was a strange heaviness in the air, like someone unseen was already watching. I didn't know it yet, but trouble was already walking toward my front door. The peace shattered with 3 violent bangs on my door. Not knocks, bangs, the kind that made the hinges complain and the floor vibrate. Before I could even reach the entryway, a sharp female voice yelled from outside, "Open this door right now, you can't live here." I froze mid-step, confused and thrown off. Nobody even knew I moved in yet. I opened the door carefully, expecting maybe a delivery driver with the wrong address. Instead, a woman stood on my porch like a self-proclaimed queen. Sunglasses, tight bun, fancy pen clipped to her collar, and a clipboard hugged to her chest like a badge of honor. She didn't introduce herself, didn't say hello. She pointed straight at my house. "This property is under HOA regulation," she snapped. "You're trespassing. Pack up and leave before I write you up." I blinked at her, trying to stay calm. "Ma'am, this area is outside the HOA. That's exactly why I—" She stepped forward aggressively, nearly shoving her way inside. "Don't lie to me. Everything on this street is under my authority, and I decide who lives here." Her words weren't just rude, they dripped with entitlement. Behind her, I noticed curtains quietly shifting in nearby windows. Neighbors were watching. Before I could say another word, she pulled a bright red paper from her clipboard and slapped it onto my door. The paper was stamped dramatically with fake-looking signatures and bold letters meant to intimidate. "This is your final warning," she declared loudly, making sure everyone listening heard her staged performance. "Leave before sunset, or I'll have HOA security remove you." I stared at the paper. It looked official at first glance, but the longer I examined it, the more obvious the forgery became. The eviction code didn't exist. One of the signatures was literally printed in a cartoonish font, and the HOA logo cropped badly from Google. She crossed her arms and smirked like she had already won. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," she added. I looked at her and then back at the paper, and it became painfully clear. This wasn't authority. This was obsession, a person drunk on power she didn't actually have. And the neighborhood's quiet attention proved it. This wasn't her first meltdown, but she had picked the wrong person this time. I felt the shift inside me. She thought I was an easy target. I slowly peeled the fake notice off the door, folded it cleanly, and slipped it into my pocket. Her smirk faded a little at how calm I was. "Before you try to remove me," I said, keeping my voice steady, "you should find out who actually owns this land." For the first time since she arrived, Karen hesitated. Her lips twitched, her confidence wavered, and she took a small step back. She tried to recover quickly. "I don't care who you think you are," she snapped. "If I say you're violating HOA rules, you are violating HOA rules." I ignored the tantrum and walked toward my truck parked beside the house. She stomped behind me, yelling, "Don't walk away from me. I'm not done talking." But her voice slid right off me. People like her depended on fear and confusion. They hated calm responses. They hated not being in control. When I opened the back of my truck, she hovered behind me, desperate to regain control. "What are you doing?" she barked. I didn't answer. I just reached inside and pulled out the one thing she was not prepared to see. In my hands was a thick black folder. Heavy, official, labeled. It contained original land deeds, certified survey reports, and federal documentation verifying everything she claimed to control had nothing to do with her or the HOA. Karen's eyes widened for a split second before she forced them back into a glare. "That doesn't prove anything," she said, voice cracking as she pointed at the folder like it offended her. "Anyone can print out some papers." I raised an eyebrow. "These aren't printed. They're original documents." Well, I'll be the one to check them then," she declared, trying to rebuild her collapsing authority. "No," I said firmly, "you won't." She scoffed, offended. "Oh, really? And who will?" I closed the folder, looked her dead in the eyes, and replied, "The county, and the federal division that signs off on protected land ownership cases." She blinked rapidly. A crack ran clean through her confidence. She tried to speak, but no words came out. It was clear she had never been challenged before. She had no idea what she had just stepped into. Before she could regain her voice, a low humming sound echoed down the street. A black SUV rolled up slowly, tinted windows hiding whoever was inside. Karen stopped mid-breath. Her posture stiffened, her shoulders tensed, and for the first time, she looked genuinely afraid. "No," she whispered to herself, "not him." The SUV parked in the middle of the road. Neighbors who'd been pretending not to watch were now fully glued to their windows. The driver's door opened, and a tall man stepped out. Calm, professional, wearing a county badge clipped to his belt. Karen attempted a shaky smile. "Ah, Mr. Carlton, I wasn't expecting you today." He didn't even acknowledge her. His attention was on me. "Morning," he said with a nod. "You must be the new homeowner." "Yes, sir," I replied. "Got a report this morning," he continued. "Someone claimed there was an unauthorized structure on restricted land." Restricted land. Only a few people knew what that meant, and even fewer understood why my name was on the paperwork. Karen jabbed a finger toward me. "Yes, that's him. He moved in without HOA approval, built without permits. He's breaking all our rules." Mr. Carlton turned his head slowly toward her. The look he gave could have shattered glass. "This house," he said firmly, "is outside the HOA boundary." Karen's mouth fell open. No, that's not right. I sent you the maps. I submitted all the reports." "You submitted forged maps," he corrected without emotion, "and fake HOA notices. Again." The word "again" hit her like a slap. Karen's body trembled visibly. "They weren't fake," she stuttered. I was just trying to keep the neighborhood safe." But Mr. Carlton ignored her and turned to me instead. "Sir, we reviewed your file. Your land is fully legal and, more importantly, under a federal protection clause. That means no HOA, no private group, and no individual," his eyes flicked to Karen, "can interfere with your residency or construction, ever." Neighbors were now outside with phones out, recording every word. Karen spun in circles, looking for anyone to defend her. No one did. The truth lay bare in the middle of the street, and her entire fake kingdom was collapsing.
Sir,
Two
we need
more
to ask you
county
some
units
questions.
pulled
We
up.
appreciate
A
your
deputy
concern, ma'am,
stepped
but this
out,
is a police
looked at
matter
me,
now.
and
But you don't
immediately
understand, he's up.
straightened. "Sir," he said respectfully, "didn't know you moved here. Need us to process the impersonation charges?" Karen's jaw dropped. "Why is he calling you sir? Who are you?" I finally told her. "I'm the federal investigator who approved this land years ago," I said calmly. "I wrote the protection clause you tried to break." Everything went silent. Karen's eyes widened as the realization hit her all at once. She hadn't been harassing some random homeowner. She had been trying to intimidate the one person with the authority she pretended to have. And the folders she mocked earlier? They were the very documents she illegally challenged. Her legs wobbled, her power vanished, and the street watched her unravel. The deputies stepped closer, holding the fake notice she had posted on my door. "This is enough for multiple charges," one of them said. "Impersonation of authority, forged documents, harassment, attempted eviction without jurisdiction." Karen's breathing turned frantic. No, you can't do this. I run this neighborhood." "You ran it with lies," I replied quietly. She tried to run, then tried to blame me, then tried to blame everyone watching, but none of it worked. The cuffs clicked around her wrists. Neighbors filmed as officers guided her toward the SUV, her voice echoing down the street in fading desperation. Her empire crumbled in seconds, and all she could do was scream as it slipped through her fingers. The door closed behind her, ending the chaos she created. As the vehicles pulled away, Mr. Carlton turned toward me. "You're safe here," he assured. "No HOA, no harassment. No one will try something like this again." For the first time since arriving, the neighborhood felt quiet, in a good way. Peaceful. Mine. I walked up the porch steps, finally breathing freely. The fake notice Karen had slapped on my door was gone. The lies were gone. And the home I chose for freedom was finally free. Sometimes a neighborhood only becomes peaceful after the noise is removed. And Karen had been nothing but noise.